Maris' journey is a testament to the power of perseverance, alternative treatments, and the potential for positive change in the face of seemingly insurmountable challenges. His story began in February 2020 when he sought out treatments not available in his home country of Latvia for what had been diagnosed as an incurable neurodegenerative disease. Upon arriving at Body Science, a South Miami-based functional medical center specializing in diseases of neuroinflammation and neurodegeneration, had already been credited with one ALS reversal in October of 2019, Maris would become the second. With its focus on holistic health and cutting-edge treatments, provided a unique and personalized approach to address Maris's health concerns. Returning to Body Science in October 2023, Maris shared his remarkable story of reversal, becoming a source of inspiration for others grappling with similar health challenges. His story sheds light on the effectiveness of the treatments and lifestyle changes he embraced, offering hope to those who may have lost it.
Hey! Okay, I'm gonna let me go first.
Hi, Amy. Hi. So good to see you.
God, it's so good to see you.
And this time is not
Maris, oh my God, look at you. Maris, that's crazy. You look just like you.
I
Wow.
feel very good.
That's amazing. You're amazing. Come on, let's go back.
Well, imagine you guys watched Gunther's video, and he was the first reversal here. You were the second.
Yeah. And thanks actually to Gunther.
Yeah.
Of course, we needed this donation from other people. So, but if we have this goal, then it's possible everything.
Maris watched Gunther's video, and Gunther mentioned several times, Amy did that, Amy helped with that, Amy did that, and we were just like, who is this Amy? Like, we need to find her. How to find Amy in Miami? So, and I saw your comment. On one of on Gunther's page.
Post,
yeah, exactly. And then I said to Maris, look, we found Amy. Like, this is the Amy. And then we found the Body Science, and of course we found Body Science page, and then we read, and and then I remember that it was Christmas 2019.
Yeah.
It was Christmas, and I think right away we make we made an appointment for a call, and we had a call at the beginning of February 2020, and we came here in mid-March 2020.
Yeah, so we were just looking at the call. So imagine it was like the 5th of February, which I totally didn't remember, and then going through your history at that time, and you guys made it the following month, and you made it, and COVID was happening at the same time.
Yes. We was in last airplane because our
it was one of the last airplanes from Europe back to US, so we just jumped in and we risked it all just to come.
My mom said maybe not now, maybe next time, because he very worried about.
She was very worried.
Yes, but I know that this is maybe last chance for me, because I don't know
now or never.
when this COVID ends, or it's
so imagine, we know now, because that was beginning of 2020, and flights weren't restarted until end of 2021. People started coming back around October. Had you not come at that time,
I remember in this airport, this employee asked us, "You really want to go to USA? Maybe you didn't come back from."
Maybe you are not coming back, or you don't know when you will come back. And we said, yes, we know. Like, we take the risk and we go anyway. So because
all right, because we were talking about what does it take to get better. So, and your point, it takes everything. It's not just medicine, it's not just treatment, it's lifestyle, and you've made some aggressive lifestyle changes.
How I thought we need to change everything, all us lifestyle. It's only not physical, but that's most important. Maybe this mental side. If we change this mental side, then physical body starts to healing this process. Of course, we need to change this food. We need drink right supplements. We need all meditations and
also everything about the household,
Yes.
what liquids we are using, or not only liquids, but what materials we are using.
You guys got really clean.
because what we use on our skin, it's all
or goes into our
goes
body.
to our body, and
like
it's-
we changed everything, starting from the saucepans and
removing Teflon and non-stick coatings,
when we
cooking in
went back,
glass.
When we went back home, I remember we threw out every carpet we had. We didn't had much, but we threw out the carpets, and actually we didn't notice the changes for Maris, for example. But I myself, I noticed that my running nose just stopped running, and like we noticed those small changes, and like everything, we reconsider all the choices we have in our household. And then, of course, what food we are consuming, and like what thoughts we are thinking.
Because at first, if we talk about food, that at first I start to eat more these vegetables, and that's all. But we bought these vegetables in supermarket.
In
yes,
grocery
but
store.
then you told us no, you need organic from farmers, and this maybe fish or vegetables or meat.
It all comes with time and with knowledge, and like we started at first. I remember in autumn 2019 we started like Maris excluded all the gluten, all the like sugars. No, I mean like these synthetic sugars and like I think eggs and something.
Lactose.
So basically, and dairy, and he started to eat like cleaner food, like more veggies and more like meat that is made simple, not with some sauces or something. And then everything came with knowledge and with time. Then we received the labs, and then we understood, okay, we need to change something. Then we need to find more organic options and to have this food more clean.
Yes,
so
at
that
first
it supports the body, but it comes like of course if you have this information in one place, then it's easier most probably. But for us it came with time, like learning by doing. But I think that's also a valuable lesson. And one more thing I remember when we were here in 2020, and it was hard because of the COVID and because of the uncertainty what will happen, and of course all this ALS topic and all the treatments for Maris. And I remember we had this scheduled meeting with I don't remember the doctor. We had a call about the mental health and about positive thinking and about being here in the present. And I remember that it was hard to focus on that mental part at that time. But it was it was highlighted that it is very important to think about your mental health. But as I said, like with the food, everything comes with the time. And when we also went home, and when we had our routine, I'm speaking us because also obviously in our family everything has changed. We have new routines, and we are more or less we are both doing the same. So, and I remember that also for Maris, it came with time to focus on this mental side as well.
If we talk about this mental side, then officially from doctors I had this deep depressions. I drink this antidepressants. Yes, in English. It's right.
Yeah,
yes.
antidepressants. Yeah.
I was very close to suicide. Really, this real story. But
before or after the diagnosis?
Before, yes, because I don't know what's happening with me.
It was in autumn 2019.
Okay, so you already had symptoms at that point.
Yeah.
But you didn't know what it was.
Yes,
Yeah,
I didn't
exactly.
know what's happening, and no doctor said it's okay. It's all in
in
your
your
head.
head.
Maris, what were the symptoms at that point?
At first, I have this because I had this mycoplasma pneumonia.
Right.
I have this antibiotics, strong antibiotics, and at first I had this
burning
feeling in my back, and I feel that maybe all these nerves burning in my back, and I don't understand what's happening. Then I have this in my arms some
weakness in your arms.
Weakness, yes, because at first diagnosis I have this polyneuropathic.
Yeah,
something.
it's polyneuropathy.
Yes, this was the first diagnosis for me, polyneuropathy in my arms and legs, because in nights I have this in arms. I don't know how it in English. Tīpoņi.
Yeah.
Like, was it like a burning,
tickling
or numbness?
Tickling in hands and legs. And my legs was like vate.
Yeah, I don't know.
Weak or cramps?
No. Just like a very weak feeling, like that very weak feeling in the legs that
Yes.
you like not sure.
I don't feel my legs like
normal legs, like physical
like,
legs, but like yeah.
This was first diagnosis for me. Then I start to drink some supplements, medicaments for this polyneuropathy.
For the polyneuropathy.
Yes.
When we met, I mean, you were taking a bunch of supplements. How many supplements do you think you were taking per day at that point?
Up to 20, I would say.
It's more 20 to 30 maybe. Because you know, Amy, I don't know what I need, but how I talk to other people, then if we don't know what we need to do, we need to be in this process we need to research every time. We need to.
Hey Maris, Lika, can I take a step back for a minute? And the only reason, I think there's a handful of really important things, because I imagine the same way that you were just describing, you saw Gunther's video and then you envisioned yourself being able to get better. I think people are going to see your video and realize the same thing. And so there's a couple of points that I think are important. Let me throw them out there and then see where you guys are if you want to make changes to them. First of all, just going back to the history, you developed mycoplasma pneumonia. We know that is a predisposing risk factor for ALS. And as well, because we were just looking at your note, you had Epstein-Barr. So those two viruses, again, both predisposing risk factors. So just for everybody that's watching, we know that there was very definitely a pathogen trigger in this. The second point that I wanted to make, you were not depressed before this happened. What happened for you was you start developing weakness in your legs. You get this polyneuropathy, meaning, neurons around the body are starting to either become burning, tingling, numb. Some people will describe it as electricity. Some people will describe it as ants. So now here you guys both are cramps. So you're young. You go over to be evaluated. Nobody has any information for you. They just kind of create this generic diagnosis, which is multiple neurons or polyneuropathy, in which case you become depressed. And so the point I just wanted to make is, I know you were just saying, and it's true, mindset is critical. I guess the one thing I would put out there for anybody that's clinical, be mindful of the things that you're saying when you see folks, because Maris, you're the proof that people can reverse. But
this mindset we can start to change only when we are in process, when we start to understand what we need to do. When we sitting at home and just crying and don't understand what we need to do, of course we deeper and deeper in depression. But when we all time in this process, when we research something, maybe we can have 5 things what to do, but only maybe one thing is right for us. But we need to do all these 5 to find this one right thing.
In the perfect situation, it would never be on the person that has the symptom or the diagnosis. In a perfect situation, when you go in and you're being worked up and you have those concerns and those symptoms, you wouldn't be told that it's in your head. and you wouldn't be told to go home, because had that not been the case, I don't think you would have gone into depression. And had you had guidance at the beginning, it's what everybody with motor neuron damage is entitled to. And so I agree, Maris. I think the really important takeaway for everybody, no matter what the initial comments or diagnosis may be, you just really have to know in your heart of hearts you are going to get through it. And I agree, because you have two options, right? With this diagnosis, you've got two options: climb in bed and cry, or start doing stuff. And to your point, you start doing stuff.
But at first time, my family too not believe that something happening with me, because all doctors said all is my head, and my family too think that all is only in my head, and this is double hard situation. Yes, because I know that is not only in my head.
Look, what I think about. So we didn't know it at that time, because imagine this is beginning of 2020. What we know from the study that came out in Tel Aviv of 2021 is the proteinopathy, the misfolded protein, TDP43, that leads to motor neuron disease is reversible. And that statement, since it's been made, for me, that kind of frames moving forward where this disease should be. It'd be my hope that nobody would be diagnosed in the same way that you were, because it shouldn't look like that. It really shouldn't look like, hey, we don't know what's going on. We recognize you're young and healthy. Now you're getting weakness, and you have these sensations, and we don't know what it is, so it's in your head. So I guess ideally moving forward, again, I was telling you, my hope, the two of you guys, that you make for people moving forward the new face. So I make that announcement, Maris and Lika, the new face of motor neuron disease, because motor neuron disease has been proven to be reversible. You saw Gunther's video, he had reversed, and then here you are having gone totally into remission, so much so you've run a marathon. So we don't have to dispute whether or not you got better. And so now the real key, and I think in the education for everybody that watches this, again, if you're the person making the diagnosis, not the person being diagnosed, if you're the person making the diagnosis and still believing that motor neuron disease cannot be addressed, it's not true, right? That's old school thinking. It can. And again, we have four folks.
And always try to solve only stories from which you can motivate it. Not these bad stories, but all these stories from good stories, because all is possible. All is possible, but you need to believe in yourself. But this belief you can find only when you find these real stories of real people.
Well, imagine Lika figured it out. She drags you across the world. You get stuck into treatment.
Yes, my wife is incredible, because yes, and biggest our support is our family, and if we don't have these people who can help us, I don't know how it's possible.
I agree. Look, but I think that's another really good point. The two things that are really important points. Family, for anybody that's watching this, if you are a family member and you're not sure whether the person that you're supporting, the person that you love, can get to the other side, can get better, the best way to ensure that they can get to the other side is supporting them. Because if you're a family member and you are parroting the same conversation that they're being told, which is you're not going to get better, if you're the family saying the same thing, you are pretty much guaranteeing that to be the outcome. And so I agree, Lika. I mean, you were the one that figured out there's a way to get around this.
Because these changes are going from all family, not only me, not only I need to change, but
as I said, we changed basically everything in our household, and it's not only for the one person. And when you start to realize like what is happening and what affects what, then you start to realize that it's also better for the other persons as well. And I know that also our moms have changed something in their daily lives, which is not directly tied with us, but they are also changing something because
many my people which are close to me are changing something in
they are asking
the-
they are asking for some advices. It's more maybe on the household level, like what to change or what, for example, in what pan you are cooking something, and then we are saying like we use like this pan and we are not using Teflon ever, like it's like,
Okay, so let's talk about it again for everybody
Yeah.
that's watching. We were talking about it when we first got together. You have to be clean, right? So
Yeah.
this is a disease, motor neuron disease, is triggered and progresses much more rapidly if you are chronically inflamed. And so the number one priority is stop inflammation.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's go through. You change the pots and pans. So from my vantage point, again, you cannot have perfluorates, PFOAs, PFASs, and because those fluorinated compounds are in Teflon, you can't use Teflon.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys changed all your pans.
We changed all our pans. We throw out our carpets because there could be mold or there could be
Yep.
This
and
microwave.
microwave was the first one that we throw out. Yes, and
Okay, I'll make one clarification. I'm not sure that I believe that micro-length waves cause disease. What I would say is cooking food in microwaves is not an especially healthy way of doing things. You're certainly not going to preserve vitamins and minerals.
No.
And so I agree, like just nuking something to death and then eating that food after the nutrients have been destroyed, that's probably not to your best. So I agree.
We actually needed the space for the blender because Maris started to eat like smoothies in the breakfast, and we needed the space for a professional blender. So that's why we threw out the microwave in the first place.
Okay,
That's
so you stopped microwaving a bunch of gross food and you started making and blending a bunch of fresh food.
Yeah, and we switched to whole foods basically, so that we are like preparing the meals, and we are like focusing on the whole foods, not like on the like some sub-products or mixes or whatever. So
You moved to organic,
yeah,
right?
we
So you
moved
got
to
rid of
organic.
all
Of course, that
pesticide.
was we moved to organic.
Maximal organic.
Maximal
how we change.
organic,
How we
yes,
can.
and not something that is conservated. Not sure, like in these jars or
You
something.
you
like
gotta imagine when you buy something and it's got a shelf life of 2 and 3
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
Whatever the heck is
Exactly.
in there, there's
Yeah,
no
yeah.
way that could be good for
Yeah, yeah.
humans. We were talking before we got on the video about the history or the mutation, an MTHFR mutation, and so it doesn't make it a risk factor for motor neuron disease. And we were talking about the fact that it's common in the population. But it does predispose people to increased inflammation, especially when they come in contact with certain toxins. So the pesticide and removing pesticide-laden foods, going whole foods and organic, was important for a lot of reasons. And so if anybody is watching and they have an MTHFR mutation, even more of a reason to get really clean. We were talking about how pesticides are xenoestrogens, so they just make all kinds of hormone disruptions. Okay, what else did you guys do to get clean? Tell us,
We
Maris.
also changed like all the detergents that we like wash our clothes with, and all the shower gels and all the shampoos and everything. So we search for the more healthiest and safest options that can be found, and maybe we switched from. For example, for myself, I am also now very picky on the cosmetics I use. Like I am not using everything from going to the shop and buying everything that I like this color of this mascara, I will just take it. No, I'm not doing that anymore. So we are choosing more carefully the products we are using, either on our bodies or inside like eating or something like that. What else did we change?
No,
And one more important thing, we also changed the composition of litter for our cat to to use more organic options. Yeah, and actually that was also one of the things that we didn't notice before. We were using like this. And I'm not sure how it's like the correct name, but there was these dust from the this cat litter thing. There was dust coming, and then I noticed that it's most probably at first it's not healthy for us, and maybe we should change it. And also this is a small thing which we didn't thought about at first, but anyways we choose to go to more organic option for our cat. So that it will benefit also us. So
yeah, because it's true, you're breathing that in.
Yeah,
and every
exactly.
single time you change a litter box, you're breathing in all that.
And we don't know what is the composition of that dust, so why to risk if we can just eliminate it. So that was also one of the
and
things.
how you told anyway, if we don't know what to do, first things what we can to do always, this is change our lifestyle in our food, in our
household
hygiene.
Yeah.
Yes, all our lifestyle, how decrease this inflammation process in our body. This we can change always. We don't need doctor to change this. We can just research in the internet and just decrease this inflammation in our body, because our bodies is very smart. They know how to heal ourselves. We just need to help our bodies, and this if we decrease this inflammation and other pesticides and chemical products, then we always can help our body. This is in physical way, but in mental way, of course, we need these meditations and other things. But how I told to other people that our body, not only physical body, we are energy, and this energy works together with this physical body. If we increase our this energy level in our bodies, and of course our physical body starts to healing process. Our cells start to healing.
There are so many studies that prove the same, right? There are so many studies that prove mindset is critical in controlling an immune system, that it can work in either direction. There are so many studies describing that anxiety and depression can trigger autoimmune disease, and that positive thinking and meditation can reverse those same diseases. And even though for anybody that's watching that can sound kind of woo-woo, like I wonder how medical it is, the answer is very, right? You can measure T cells. So coming out of just the concept of saying it and going into the world of science, and you can measure the immune system and the lymphocyte count. And you can see them either decreasing when people are depressed and anxious for a chronic period of time, or when they're happy, you'll see that effect. I would say this. I'll just jump in quickly and just say, Mara, I tell you what, the question is, does medicine heal people? And I would tell you, it's a partnership for sure. I don't think medicine makes diseases go away, but I think lifestyle oftentimes needs the support. It's the partnership of those two. The question is, if mindset is not where it belongs, and lifestyle, you haven't cleaned up your house, you're not taking care of yourself with good quality food, you're not drinking clean water, can medicine fix a problem? I don't think so, right? I don't think it works like that.
But if you do all these things, your mindset changes, because you know that you do something good for your body, yourself, and you changes your mindset. Of course, when it all starts, after some time, every day I do this affirmation. I 100 times, 200 times I repeat these sentences. My muscles get bigger, my muscles get stronger. Every day, for 2-3 hours, I do these affirmation processes. I programming my mind in this, and for some period my mind thought in other
starts to believe it.
Starts to believe. Maybe physically, some not these changes not so big, but my mind believes that these changes are bigger than they really are.
Okay, I think this. I think a bunch of folks with motor neuron disease, right, a lot of people with ALS are going to watch this. And again, I think you two are the new face. You are the face. after 2021 Israeli study describing the reversibility of this disease. So for anybody that wonders, I mean, you guys are proof positive. And so then as a point of action, because that's the question, if anybody's watching this, what do you have to do next? To your point, Maris, about a mantra. Anybody that's watching this, you got to pick out your mantra. And then what I like when you actually write it down, or if you're not writing, you have somebody else that writes it down. It's the first thing that you think when you wake up in the morning. It's the letters or the words that you put on your mirror. So when you go over there in the morning to brush your teeth, it's the first thing that you see. You put that mantra all over your home. You put it on your phone. You put it, if it's a woman, you put it on your purse. If it's a man, you put it on your wallet. You see that thing all day long, because to your point, if you can see yourself getting better, it is a lot more likely that you will. And by comparison, if you can't see yourself getting better, I don't think medicine, not the field, not the actual products, I don't think medicine changes that. You have to be able, in your heart of hearts, to know that you can get better. And so even though I can imagine lots of people maybe thinking that but shaking their head no, like how could you say that with ALS? And the answer is we can say it because number one, you watched Gunther, who said you could get better, and he did. And then here you are saying the same, and you got better as well.
Because Gunther said about this mental side, how important this mental side. And on one of my Facebook story, we can see this picture of this where I write these mantras, my mantras, and.
So what is your mantra? Tell us all. What do you live by?
First mantra was about my muscles, because this was very important for me, because all my life I was a big sportsman. Of course, now I start to running again, but before that I working with my muscles. My muscles always was
in good shape.
In good shape, yes, and of course my mantras was about muscles. My muscles get stronger. My muscles get healthier. My cells get healthier. My cells are. I don't know.
But okay. I get it. I mean, you think that, and you think it over and over. It's almost like you make it true.
Yes. Every day for 2-3 hours, I repeat these mantras, and not only about muscles. My mantra was I am healthier physically. I am healthier mental. I am healthier physically. I am healthier mental, and always repeat these mantras.
How old were you when you got your first symptoms?
36, I think.
36, yes.
36,
no, 40.
Yeah. The other thing I would say, because we're talking about supplements, I don't dislike taking supplements. You know, I'm personally not a huge supplement fan, but I don't dislike them. What I would say is, for everybody that's watching, you had tried a lot of supplements before we actually gotten involved. That, for me, was not the turning point. So it doesn't mean people should or shouldn't take supplements. It means supplements for me just are not the whole answer, only because, again, so many had been tried. The key is, can you just get the right information from a lab point of view? Can you get really clear on what's going on? Can you put pieces together?
The most important.
But how I told that we need be in this process. Of course. From these 30 supplements, maybe only two was good for me. But I was in this process for my mind. I know that I am in this process. I do something, not only sleeping in bed and crying. I do something for my health, and maybe going with small steps, but going forward. This is how I told to Liga when it all starts. I said that this wasn't a sprint. This was a marathon distance which we need to go. This wasn't a sprint distance, and maybe other people can give me a drink or something in this distance can help me, but
you should run it.
I need to run this distance.
You need to know it. You need to know in your heart of hearts that you can get better.
Yeah. And exactly what you said, Amy, that and also Maris what said, like the important part is to be in the process. However, the most important is to actually find out what is causing, what is the root cause.
Yes.
Because if there is no information from the labs or what is causing this health situation, you can do everything in the world, but nothing will help most probably, or will help less. And when you find out the root cause, or what is causing this disease, then you can tackle it, and you can start to maybe rethink your choices. And as we did, we found out what are the root causes for Maris and what we need to change, and we did the change, and he's back on track and he's running again.
Yes, and I am very thankful to body science, because here I found very many of these root causes. Maybe some many answers. Yes, maybe some these root causes smaller, some bigger, but I need to work with all these root causes, because I don't know which helps me more. And here in body science, I found this more of this.
And when there are answers, then you can address these issues one by one, and you have a plan. So for this root cause you have this plan, and for another root cause you have another plan, and you need to mix them, and you need to work out the best of it.
So I agree. I would say for anybody that's watching, the very first step, don't panic, right? Because imagine instead find a place that you can trust, because the very first step is getting really clear on the most likely causes, and at least putting a pile of things together. You may not know, and the center may not know at that moment, which is the primary. We started out, we knew mycoplasma was very potentially a triggering or predisposing infection, Epstein-Barr, and you had really elevated levels of polychlorinated biphenyls, or PCBs. We started with that premise. And we treated to an endpoint of success. So not only did we start with that, but we know that that's the bottom line. I guess my point is always from the point of diagnosis, again, two options: climb in bed and cry, or get a plan together. You're just looking for a place that can really help identify root cause, because to the point that you're making, you need a roadmap, you need a therapy approach, and that approach is going to be very specific to the cause. In your case, I would tell you, I very, very definitely believe motor neuron disease is a symptom. It's not the cause, it's the symptom.
Yeah, exactly.
And so if you're dealing with motor neuron disease and you haven't figured out the cause, that's really where you need to be. And I think no matter how many centers you've got to go to until you get there, I mean, I would say the same thing, come here. But if you can't come here, I would say no matter what you do, you got to find the cause, because until you find the cause, you don't know what you're treating. And if you don't know what you're treating, even though you can rotate around therapies and supplements and medication, it's unlikely that you'll just run into it. And so the question is, what do you do at that time when you're not clear on what you're treating? Maris, to your point, you mentally make sure that you're committed and clear to the fact that you will find it and you will get better. And Lika, to your point, you clean your house up in order to stop making inflammation, because while you're going down that road, the two things that must be in place, right? You have to take care of yourself mentally, getting plenty of sleep, getting good quality food, getting really clean water, and your house must be in order, right? There can't be chemicals. If people are drinking from well water and they haven't tested it, they have to. If PCBs are elevated in the area, you have to make changes.
Yes, and maybe some last words from me. Always believe and trust in yourself, because we are much stronger than we think we are. We are much stronger. Our bodies are much stronger. Our body always know what they need. We just need to help our bodies and always trust and believe in yourself, in our power.
Bodies want to be healthy, and they will use every possible means to get there.
Yes, bodies always wants to be healthy.
Yep.
Our body always wants to be healthy. We just need to help go this to
that direction.
So Maris and Liga, Maris, you were diagnosed with motor neuron disease, and now you are a man that no longer has motor neuron disease. You have no symptoms of motor neuron disease any longer. What we're looking to do now, answer questions that I expect a lot of people are going to have, meaning people that are out there with motor neuron disease who are also trying to get better. That is a big statement, right? Having motor neuron disease and getting better. But you are the person that can speak to it, you and Liga both, because that's exactly what you've accomplished. And so we know already there are a lot of questions that people have. How did you do it? What was involved? How long did it take? What were your symptoms? What did things look like? And so I'm super happy to be able to do this video, because I think, again, there are a lot of people that are in the position that you were in just a handful of years ago, with uncontrolled motor neuron disease that was aggressive and progressive. And so what we're really looking to do, reframe this disease, put a new face onto this disease. It feels like an impossible situation if you're dealing with motor neuron disease and being told by everybody that you can never get better. And so the idea of reframing it and putting a new face on it, what does it look like for people that have gotten better? Mm-hmm. And so let's talk about your history with this whole thing, when it started, when you started getting better, how you knew that you were getting better, and the process that you went through. Will you start us from the beginning of your initial symptoms and how they started?
It all started in 2019 August when I had this mycoplasma pneumonia bacteria, and then doctors gives me these strong antibiotics, and then I drink these antibiotics for 10 days or a bit longer, because this pneumonia not go away, and this mycoplasma, and after this antibiotics course, I felt very bad. My back all burning, my spine burning, and my immunity was on zero. I felt very bad, and then after some times, I starting feeling my fingers and legs are tingling, and or yes, I don't know.
Getting numb.
Yes, getting numb at my arms and legs, and after some time, I think it was 2019 September when I go to neurologists, and first diagnosis was this polyneuropathy in hands and legs, and then these neurologists give me this pills for this against this polyneuropathy, and after 1 month I start feel better in my hands and legs, but and I thinking that it's okay, and I go back to life, and but in 2019 August started something. October 2019 October starting something, I don't know, understand what, but something like turn off in my brain, and problems with muscles. I feel that then starting this fasciculations in muscles, in legs, in arms, and of course I had deep depression for all of this, and of course before this when I had this polyneuropathy, I drank this many antidepressants for depressions, but
hey, Maris, let me take a step back for just a minute, and the reason, a couple things. One, just talking motor neuron damage for a minute, there is very clear evidence that mycoplasma is an infection that is linked to an increased risk of motor neuron damage. Mm. So the way I imagine this, here you guys are young, a young couple, and then you get mycoplasma pneumonia. So I assume that was just like a cold flu type of sense of things, right? Having no idea that it's really even mycoplasma. You get tested. At that point, you know that you've got mycoplasma, but it really doesn't mean anything. And then you develop the neuropathy. Neuropathy, just for everybody that's listening, it's commonly a term in the peripheral nerves or things outside of the central nervous system. And it's oftentimes burning, tingling, numbness. It could be stabbing. It could be electricity. Interestingly, this, as a motor neuron disease, shouldn't have sensory involvement. So when I started in this area, that was my understanding, except I saw lots of people that had the same report that you do, which is there's a sensory component. We know at some point Epstein-Barr was involved. And the reason I bring that up is because that combination is something that we've seen commonly, mycoplasma and Epstein-Barr. And normally we'll look for it and we'll see the lab findings. We can't on a lab determine the time, so we're fortunate in your case because you tested and confirmed it at that time. On ours,
it was tested in August 2019 together with mycoplasma. It was also this Epstein-Barr, but back then we didn't know what the
relevance
mean.
was.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't like tie it together with his numbness in fingertips or hands legs afterwards. So it was just like, okay, we saw that in labs and we understood, okay, he had a bad cold in the middle of the July,
which was mycoplasma.
Yeah. So we didn't tie it together really.
What I would say as well, herpes viruses, so that family, and Epstein-Barr happens to be one of the herpes viruses. Commonly, the presentation includes neuropathy, so burning, tingling, numbness, or ants or electricity. And again, when I looked at this initially, and it was motor neuron, and motor neurons shouldn't have a sensory component, so you shouldn't feel anything. And it was a question early on, what's the sensory thing? We know that the herpes family of viruses very definitely can cause neuroinflammation. And so again, just kind of taking a step back, you get sick kind of out of nowhere. What we know, because you had it tested, we know it was mycoplasma and Epstein-Barr. We know mycoplasma increases risk of motor neuron disease, and we know herpetics can cause neuroinflammation. And so then, to your point, you go over to neurology, and what they call it is something very generic. So, I mean, really, all these terms are generic, whether it's motor neuron disease, whether it's polyneuropathy, none of those terms are specific to what's going on. They're nerves that are being injured, and essentially nobody knows why. Right? So you go in, I assume the two of you must have been scared out of your mind at this point, because you have now fasciculations or muscle twitching, you have this burning, tingling, numbness component. You go to neuropathy, to neurology, and they say, yeah, something's wrong with a lot of your nerves, meaning polyneuropathy, but nobody really has a clear sense of what to do. They put you on a medication to stop that burning, tingling, numbness, an anti-neuropathic, and then what happens at that point?
Yes, after this medications, I starting felt better, but how I told that I in one day something happening in my brain, and I starting something feeling my all muscles, and I all my life I was a big sportsman. My muscles was very important for me, and I understand how it looks, how it needed to feel my muscles. That's why I feel every changes in my muscles. I felt this in starting point. I felt that something is wrong. Yes, and yes, for after 1 week when it started in this October, I start to see that something is wrong with muscles. They getting smaller. No, it's right.
You start seeing atrophy. So yes. At that point, you had muscle twitches or fasciculations. Where were the fasciculations?
In this moment, I had fasciculations.
Where?
More in legs. In legs was fasciculation started. And I saw how this muscle.
Your calf.
Yes, my calf starting get smaller and smaller, and this very scared me. What's happening? Why it's happening? And of course, at first I think maybe it's I only imagined this. I don't know what, but fasciculation continues, and of course there's starting some cramps when we go with wife. For walk, yes. After walk, I have these cramps in my legs, and then of course I again starting go to neurologists, and
you went through the same thing that everybody went through. We were just talking before this video. The MRI. There's certain things that are standard. They're not diagnostic for motor neuron disease. They're used to rule out other things. I can imagine it could become very frustrating because now you've got muscle twitching, you've got weakness, you've got cramps. You notice the difference when you're walking. You can't walk as far. You just have kind of a generic diagnosis, which is multiple neurons, polyneuropathy, are being affected by something, but you still don't know what you're really treating. You go for an MRI. It's negative. At that point, is that when you went for the ENG, the test where they do the needles in the muscle to see how the muscles are working and how the nerves are firing?
Yes, I have all these neurology tests with needles. I don't know in English how it call it.
ENG.
Yes, ENG, and neurologists saw that something wrong in this test.
There are no impulses from.
Yes, there are no these impulses not going so good like needed, and then I go to hospital for 2 weeks, and in hospital we do all these MRIs and all these tests to
rule out everything else.
Yes, and only after 2 weeks this neurologist professor of this hospital understand that because all tests is it's okay with MRIs, and then he understand that the only possibility is this motor neuron disease, and then was this concilium, I don't know in English.
There was just
there's many doctors.
Doctor meeting,
and this is this decision that this is motor neuron disease. Yes, and of course this answer was I asked what I need to do next, and answer was we need to wait. Maybe came to us after 3 months, and then we can see how it progressions will be.
So again, I'll jump in. I'll tell you, that's a pretty common approach. So when somebody presents with those symptoms, what clinical folks are trying to do is make sure it's not something else, whether they're trying to rule out multiple sclerosis or a bleed in the brain or some type of growth in the brain or compression in the spinal cord. So for most people, those tests are negative, but they're standard, of course, just to ensure nothing else is going on. Motor neuron disease, it's a disease of exclusion, right? So you exclude every other diagnosis, and then you're left with, we're not really quite sure what this is being caused by, but we realize it is in the central nervous system, and we realize it's affecting a lot of nerves. If it's just lower motor neuron, it can be called that. If it's just upper motor neuron, it can be called that. When it's both, it's referred to as ALS. I think a place where most people are frustrated is at that moment when there isn't an answer. You're told to go home and wait 3 months, because what we know already is 3 months later, even more nerves are affected. And then 3 months after that, so if it wasn't ALS on day one, what we have found, I mean, you leave somebody 3 months by 3 months, interval after interval, until finally enough neurons, motor neurons, are affected that now it is ALS. So people start out routinely with a focal neuropathy, so one location. So for some people it'll be like a pinky or a foot drop, or a leg. So that's focal. And then of course it becomes multifocal, meaning multiple locations, and then it affects either lower or upper, or sometimes both. And so as this thing progresses and people are being evaluated 3 months at a time, of course, on your side, right, because you're the other side of this, not the clinical side, but the actual what it feels like side. On your side, you're at home scared to death, because here's this thing that's progressing, and the idea of just waiting 3 months. Okay, so then Tell us about the change in your weight. And I know we'll circle back because you were describing the depression. Just to get clear, you didn't have a history of depression. Depression for you came when you couldn't get answers. You started having symptoms. You started continuing to worsen and not know what this thing was.
Yes, you're right. This depression came from this situation because I don't understand what's happening and no one can tell me what's happening and what I need to do. There was this deep depression. Of course, I was a psychologist and I have this official this psychiatrist official document that I have this deep depression and in my situation you said that this is lower atrophy or upper. In my situation this atrophy was in full body, in arms and in legs, maybe in back, yes, because I saw that atrophy is in all body, yes, together. Maybe it's not in my situation. It's not in this move something. I can move and I don't feel that I can lift arm or something else. But I had this atrophy in full body and I started to feel this lower energy when I going with
climbing a stairs or walking outside.
Well, I think about when we met, so just talking about the change in your body weight to the loss of muscle. By the time we met, and we spoke the first time in February, but we met in March, there is no mistaking the fact that you had atrophy around your body. You had what's referred to as scapular winging. So just talking about your back, where the scapula have like a lack of muscle surrounding them. So yeah, I agree. I mean, you had full body atrophy. When this started, so before any symptoms, tell us what your weight was and then tell us what your weight was at your lowest.
I know only in kilograms.
That's fine. Go kilograms.
Before all this started, my weight was approximately 74 kilograms. Yes, and when it all starts, of course, my weight not in one day goes full down, but every day when I was in this hospital, every day I step on this
Scale.
Yes, and every day I lost for I don't know half of kilogram or some days 1 kilogram, and
The lowest was
lowest was in I think this 2020, starting 2020 was 65 kilograms. Yes.
So it's minus 10 kilograms.
Yes, but how you thought that we had this call in 2020 February, and in March we was here in body science, and I think this is the biggest key that we are so fast was here and was can start with some injections and start to research these root causes. Yes.
Right. So that's when we took a look. We knew there were three primary things. Mycoplasma as a risk factor, Epstein-Barr, and just herpes viruses in general. So again, as a center, we're seeing that combination. And then unique to you, exposure to polychlorinated biphenyls. And so we suspected it because of the location that you live in and the risk of PCB exposure in Latvia, in that specific area. We found on the call it's one of the areas of the world that has some of the highest levels of polychlorinated biphenyl or PCB. And then you came in and we tested. If you don't mind, at some point in this video, I'll go ahead and put just the levels. They were really high. And PCBs have been associated with neurodegenerative disease, primarily Parkinson's. It looked like that combination was really at the heart of things. The mycoplasma kind of targeting motor neurons and potentially weakening them. Epstein-Barr causing neuroinflammation that can ultimately result in neurodegeneration, and then polychlorinated biphenyls. I don't recall your exact weight. I could take a look in the chart. I don't know if you guys recall what your weight was when you came down to Miami.
I don't remember what was the weight. No, I think it's around 70 or maybe 69, maybe a bit under 70, but it's getting lower and lower.
I remember meeting you both I remember the fact that you were so thin, and the change in the muscle, and I remember that you guys were super scared, understandably. And we were kind of at the very beginning of trying to figure out what was going on with this whole thing. We were just starting to run tests, so it was unclear when you first came in the levels of some of these, and then we found out, over time. Okay, tell us more about this story. So I don't know if you want to talk about how mentally you got yourself through this. You want to move to that at this point, or there's something else you want to talk about physically or the process?
I don't know how too deep I can tell, but this mental side was very, very black for me. Yes, in this lowest point, I was very close to suicide. I'll tell you the reason I bring it up. I don't bring it up to bring you back to such a terrible time. I bring it up because we were talking to folks yesterday here in the office. And I think for anybody that's watching, the question is, how do you get your focus on getting better? How do you find that mindset? Because at that point, you were clinically depressed with that diagnosis of clinical depression. They had already prescribed medication for it. You had thoughts of suicide. So the question for everybody that's watching this that has motor neuron disease, right? Because that is, how do you snap yourself out of it? Because I attribute a lot of what happened next. So here you are today with no signs of motor neuron disease. Not only are you fully functional, but you have recently run a marathon. So for everybody that's watching this, Maris recently ran a marathon, and we'll have some part of the video where everybody can kind of just see you moving around. You have no remaining deficits. And I attribute a lot of what happened next, not just on the root cause analysis or the medical approach, but on the fact that you somehow very fiercely switched out of that place and into, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to somehow get better. And I think it's a really salient point for this video, because for anybody that's watching, that's really going to be their question. It's one thing for somebody like me to say, hey, listen, you have to be able to have enough serotonin or happiness for motor neurons and neurons in general to thrive. There's article after article describing, number one, how depression weakens the immune system, and number two, how happiness is critical for neuron health in the brain and serotonin and its link. Okay, even though anybody can make that statement, doesn't change the fact at this point you are 36, fasciculations everywhere, lots of muscle loss, lots of weight loss, lots of weakness. Maris, how did you find a way to move your mental state out of that dark mess and get to where you got to now? Because I don't think you could have gotten better had you not been able to see yourself getting better, had you not been able to situate that mental side. Yes, at first we need somehow start to change our mental side, because of course our physical side couldn't start to change, or when we not change our mental side, because this energy goes to physical body. And in my situation, how it all starts, of course, from this August, I have this deep depression, and of course, first month or more, first or 2 months, of course, I don't understand what's happening. I don't understand what to do, and of course, I nothing. I don't know what to do and how I can change this, because
there's no way out. It's just a desperate situation where it feels like there's no way out.
Doctors can't say to me what I need to do to get better, and after I was diagnosed, they said me that I need to wait, and that is all. Second question: so what I need to wait? I need answers. I need to do something, and from this October, from 2019 October, I start to search ways which can somehow motivate me, somehow give me this
kind of North Star. a way to situate things, a way to get
this hope. I needed starting. I needed this hope. I needed to understand. Then I can change something, because before that I understand. I Google all this information in all information. Of course, it is. This is after 1 year. This is wheelchair, and 2-3 years maybe people died, and of course every can Google it, the information, and you can see this light, But I started to search these peoples who reverse it. I'm not talking only about ALS or motor neuron disease, but every disease which are not reversed. There are many diseases, and I searched for many peoples who are reversed for each disease, which doctors said that it's not reversible. Yes, and I read this story. I watched this video, and I inspired from the story, and I started thinking, if this person can do this, why I can't do this, and why I am like this person? I am different? No, if he can, why I can't do this? And I started inspiring from these stories, and one of these my favorite stories was this Gantner story, what's inspired me most, and where I get information about these injections and about Amy. At first we don't know who is Amy, but
we were talking yesterday. So Gunther was the first reversal. We can make that statement because he was recognized at Duke as a reversal. And then I know we were talking about the fact that you guys saw Gunther's video. Imagine you will be the next person, I think, that people watch and realize, because what he said is essentially what you're saying. You could see your way out. At some point you decided that you were going to be able to get better, and you committed to that, and then you watched that video, and he's basically saying the same thing. And I think that, again, I remember going through that whole process with him. I remember when he made that decision, and I remember how he just started improving exponentially. There was already improvement at that point, but the thing that really drove it's when he made up his mind. And so the fact that you're describing it, I agree. That part, I think, is the one common denominator for everybody that has gotten out of motor neuron disease. We know the videos from those folks, and to your point, of pretty much any terminal situation. The question is, can you see yourself getting better, and can you change your mindset? It's an easy thing for somebody on my side of the desk to say, change your mindset. It's a very difficult, sometimes nearly impossible thing for the two of you on your side of the table to be able to do. How'd you get started? What'd you actually do?
Of course, these stories was only first step, which gave me some hope, give me some light. But of course, I needed to start work with my mindset, somehow really start to work. And in all stories, people's stories, and in Gantner's story, I heard this three types of what I need to do. This is food, supplements, right? This is some physical exercise for blood circulation, and third part, and most important part, is this mental side. And at this moment, I don't understand what it is, mental side, because all my life I live only with my physical body. I running, I eating, I stressing, and I don't know all this. I do all these physical things, and I don't think about something mental, or energy, or vibration, or something else.
You weren't especially spiritual. You didn't really have a higher calling, and so then the question is, you find yourself here, and you realize you need something. That component, you need to start developing that part of who you are, some bigger picture, some reason of why you're here and why you're going to continue to be here. Yeah, I agree.
And I don't understand what it is, what I need to, how I need to improve. But at that moment, I I found, and from my wife's sister sends me one video. It is for every person. What will be other persons, but some maybe spiritual teacher or something else who can help you understand who you really are, your energy, your power, inner power. Not on you don't look on you only how physical body, but you start to understand that you are much more. Your energy, your big power, and this energy can heal your physical body. And when I started go to these seminars to my spiritual teacher, this first sentence which I heard from him, and always remember that our spiritual body can heal our physical body. And this sentence follow me all this journey, my healing journey, and I always remember that some spiritual body can heal this physical body. Of course, I said I needed to understand what is physical body and how I can change this not physical, spiritual body.
So let me ask you this again, for everybody that's watching, they need a starting point, and it is hard to find a starting point from a dark place, which I realize I'm preaching to the choir because you guys were there, so you know that you started developing mantras and you started doing something with sunflowers. I love that. And I think it's something that anybody watching could start doing immediately. And I think it could help. Will you tell us about that?
Yes. I read many options how I can work with my brain, with my mental side, because I need to be friendly with my brain, because problem is brain in my thoughts, and I need somehow reprogram.
Yeah, I like that term, to reprogram.
Somehow reprogram my brain, because problem is in my thoughts. Because in my thoughts there is no answers. There is only problems. My thoughts see only problems at this moment. Yes, and I start to search these options, and one of these options, of course, was these mantras, which I repeat every day, hour by hour. I wrote these mantras on paper. I have, I don't know, 5 or 6 these mantras, and I get this sunflower seeds, 100 sunflower seeds, and I put it in the box, and I sitting in the room, and then I take one of this mantra and
one of the seed, and you read all the mantras.
Read mantra, and one seed I drop down, and 100 times one mantra, 100 times second mantra with the seeds, and every day I do this, and of course all my mantras more or less was about my muscles, because how I thought that I was a big sportsman, and my muscles very important for me. That's why, yes, my mantras. For example, my mantra was my muscles getting bigger, my muscles getting healthier. There was mantras about cells, because cells are very important in body. My cells getting healthier, I got new cells, again got healthier cells, and of course some mantras was about my mind. I am healing in physically and mental side. I'm healing physical, mental. I'm feeling physical, mental, and repeat this every day. When your brain start to believe in this, and your brain start to be calmer and calmer after some time. Of course, this is not only 1 or 2 months for me. This was approximately for 1 year, when I from fully black thoughts and fully black mind, I go to this some positive thinking, and my wife remember how it happening, how it progression happening, because when I fully black this deep depression, we drove in car. I never listened music. I needed to this.
We never listened to the music, and
yes,
we were just driving for 2 or 3 hours without
I
the
needed
music,
this.
and because he didn't want anything to sing or to hear any news or something. And then some time to time, by some months, I hear that he switched to some relaxing music channel, like it's some jazz or something. And then at one certain point, I realized that we are listening to some random station, like, and then it was like, okay, like we are back to normal in such a very, very simple example as driving with car and listening or not listening to the music. But that was actually a very huge progression that I could understand that, he's in his good mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's, yeah.
So then I'm just going to kind of summarize a couple of things. First, this whole thing happened with a handful of infections and then kind of takes on a life of its own. At that point, you can't get the answers and you can't get better. And so you go into depression. You have two options. I guess anybody in this position has two options. Climb in bed and cry, or decide somehow you're going to mentally get yourself back out of this. When you started doing mantras and you're sitting every day hours, typically about 2-3 hours, you were not doing mantras and getting better. You were really sick at that point and still doing those mantras. And to the point that you guys just made, it's not like you committed to those ideas and then just got better. Instead, this took over a year. I want to actually switch, if we can, to a timeline of things. I know one of the questions that came up yesterday, how did you know that you were better? And so now just kind of looking, we touched on a couple of things. The things I think that are super important. Number one, figuring out the cause. That's really on our side where we started working together. What are the root causes, and putting treatment strategies into that mix and doing things. You came down in March and we started treatment at that point. You were already committed to the idea of mindset. You were already looking to get yourself out of this and every day committed to doing that. Tell us, because again, I know it's the common question, what happened next? How did you start getting better? How did you know that you were getting better? What changed? And Liga, I thought about that because you're describing over the course of a year, right? The difference of not listening to music to all of a sudden starting to slowly get back into your life. How did you know that you were getting better, Maris? How long did it take? What were the first indications? And also, I know we're talking a lot about mindset, but I think we do discuss the fact that there is a large vascular component to this disease. And for that reason, you have to move and you have to stretch. And so although exercise can be difficult and limiting, and the amount that somebody can do should be something that people are cautious with, overdoing can cause damage, still there's a balance. And at some point you added exercise, and starting with Pilates, and that stretching and Pilates I think is super important. It's the exact thing that we started and discussed with Gunther. It was a big part of, I believe, his recovery. Walk us through, when did you think that things were getting better? How did you know things were getting better? And where did exercise fit into this?
Yes, I need to tell about one thing, that there is two components to getting better. One is this mental side, but we always needed to be in this process. We need research. This is for our brain, that we are on the way. How you told that we can only sleep in bed and cry, or we need to be on the way, research something. Okay, we don't know what we need to do, but we need to do maybe everything. At first moment, we need to do everything. We need to do this. Maybe we need to do 5 things, but only one is right. Maybe in the end of the way, one will be only right. But we need to do not only for our physical body, but for mental body too, because we need to be in this process all time. And this is getting our mental side better too, because we always on this process. We need to what we have to do, and
you need to be engaged in your own process of getting better. It's your journey. And so if you've decided that that journey is going to be getting better, then you need to participate in it. You are not only a participant, but a partner. And so even when you're getting treatment in a center, you still have on your side the responsibility of, are you eating well? Are you drinking clean water? Are you moving things, muscles around through stretching? Are you committed mentally? So I agree. The partnership is really important.
I would say that this the crucial thing is to establish a routine, because routine keeps things moving on day by day, and even if because we have had lows and ups and lows and downs and very bad downs. So each day is different. But irrespective of what, for example, Mars felt that certain day, he wakes up and he knows his routine and he will do it. Maybe he will do Pilates this morning for 10 minutes and the other day for 40 minutes. But it's up to him. But I know that he will do it, because he had actual a schedule, and he was doing like he wakes up, he like brushes his teeth, and then he drinks some water and starts with Pilates or starts with mantras and so on and so forth. And that was the I think the crucial thing, because he actually had written on the paper his schedule and he ticked what he has done, and that was also the part of the process that he knew that he is doing all these things in order to get better, so that there is like certain like schedule.
Of course I do all these things, but I'm not getting better at this moment. Maybe there are half of year.
You
maybe
believe in the process.
Yes, I believe in this. Starting to believe, not believe with this first day. No, I starting my believing, growing with every day. Growing with every day is this believing with this all this what I do with this. Sunflower seeds and these mantras, all this together work only together when you do all these things together, physical and mental side, and
what you did from the exercise side, how you felt that you are getting better.
Yeah, how did you know? How did you know that you were getting better? What was the first sign?
I don't know. I know, but approximately 1 year I do only this Pilates, and I don't know. One day I was less energy. One day I had more energy, and still, of course, most important point, I work with my mental side, and how I told that in my situation. These physical changes I started to feel in maybe mid of 2020, but when my mind was ready, when my mind was ready for these changes, because how I thought that physical changes couldn't started when my mind is black, because when I in low vibration, because when I had this deep depression, I felt how my body
is vibrating.
Vibrating. I couldn't get out of home because I'm scared from everything, and when these vibrations are higher and higher, my body was calmer and calmer. Then I, together with this, starting feel this more power, more energy in my body. Maybe at starting point I don't see these changes in muscle so much, but my mind tells me that everything will going better. And at first this tell me my mind only, and after that I starting to see that there is changes in my muscles too. But starting point was in my mind.
Did you see a decrease in fasciculations?
After body science, we did these injections at home for some time. I saw these changes in fasciculation maybe only on end of 2020 or mid of till end, maybe in this side I start to.
But they decreased.
Yes, because how I thought that these fasciculations too much of these fasciculations are going from our mind. Related to mind, yes. How Gunther said that this is friendly mind, and when we are in stress, then healthy people have some fasciculations, maybe in eye or something else. Each person have some little fasciculations, and when my mind was calm, then yes, these fasciculations go away one by one, and lower fasciculations.
Maris, have you had a second EMG, the needle test in the muscles? Did you go back for another test, or you have not?
After this, when I was diagnosed with motor neuron disease, no, I wasn't at this test, and
You didn't go to the test.
I didn't go, no, because I didn't felt this needed to go, because I feel that I feel great. I feel my muscles is back. I can run. I can do everything what I want, what I can before that, and I think for myself why I needed this, and because maybe doctors said me this is miracle, but he don't know what I do all this way.
What's your current weight?
Sorry?
What's your current weight?
Current weight, biggest weight was 76 kilograms, but 74, 75.
That's
maybe.
where you are now.
Yeah,
Yes.
At this point, do you have any symptoms of motor neuron disease? Are there areas of muscle that are still smaller than where they had been? Are there areas of fasciculation? Are there areas of weakness? Are there any things at this point that you can't do?
Areas, no, there's no areas of weakness. I can do all I can. Before that, I don't have these fasciculations. Of course, maybe in some situations when I have this big stress, but I haven't big stress. Maybe sometimes in work, some stress came to me, and then I start friendly. How goodness said friendly mind. I start big fasciculations, maybe here in arm, and okay, I did a bit calmer. But about these muscles atrophy, these muscles lost, yes. These muscles, yes, these muscles is bit different like it was before disease. It is back physically. These big muscles is back, but how told my this physiotherapist, I don't know in English.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, physiotherapist.
Yes, I was. He said that. There's this bone, and this is small muscles around bone, and these big muscles, and these small muscles are first which atrophied, and this muscles is not so easy to get back. You know, it's if you broke, I don't know, with
like your bone, if you break a bone.
Not the bone, the sagrist roku. Cut your head. Yes, there. Yes, arm. You have this
scar.
You have scar again after this you did, and this is with muscles too. I have beat these scars because there is some changes in muscles, but these changes I don't felt. I don't feel physically. I don't feel physically these changes. Maybe I can see some in some of part of body that these muscles is not like being 2080. But I don't matter about this because I can do everything what I did before. I now I work with heavy weights at home. I running, how Amy told, running long distances, forest, where it's forest with mountains, and my legs feel great again after this
cramps,
running. No cramps. And of course, I starting step by step. Up starting point, I run only 1 kilometer maybe, and maybe then I felt some cramps. But after some time, in the end of 2020, I started to running more and more and more.
No, it was 2021.
Yes, after.
It was 2021. Yeah.
Yes, there will be this surgery. I don't know. I need to talk about this surgery.
But taking into account that during 2023 he has 2 times already purchased a heavier weight for his home gym, I believe he is in full recovery. Time to time he just like, I ordered a new additional weight for the home gym, and I was like, oh my goodness,
it's
again.
to less. I just
because he needs some more weights because he understands and he can lift heavier things, so it's
Because on one day and after this surgery, there was this moment. I said my wife, that's all. I starting to get back my muscles, and from this day I starting work with more weights, and of course before surgery I'm too start to work harder with Pilates and maybe sometimes with weights, but after surgery I'm starting to work harder and harder with weights, because this is too about our mindset, because I felt that I have this mesh, I needed to remove it, and then I felt in my mind this is next step which I can to.
Then you are free to.
I am fully free, and I can go this next step. My muscles is ready to next step. Yes, but
I'll tell everybody you had a mesh that was placed for a hernia when we got together. So again, that was March of 2020. The question was whether or not to take out the mesh. What we find is foreign objects, implants, infections can oftentimes prevent people from getting better. And so whether we're talking about root canal that hasn't been resolved, an infection around it, or in your case, that implanted mesh, your thinking was to take it out. On my side, my thinking was wait until things stabilize. So we waited it out a year. It was a minimally invasive laparoscopic, again, just for everybody that's listening. And it was the last component on your side you had wanted since March of 2020 to remove it. And again, we waited it out a year, which I know was not your preference, but it was to ensure that surgery didn't make changes in the immune system that could allow that disease to continue to progress. And so I agree that was kind of the last step of something that needed to be done. And in fact, when you went in to have that mesh removed, what they found at that point is it had already come off of the hernia. It had scarred around it. And so I think they realized as well it was probably a great idea to have it taken out. Here's my question for you, because I think we're getting to the end of the video. My question, Maris, Liga, if you had something now to leave for everybody that's watching, and again, the folks I think are watching, people that are dealing with motor neuron. Today is, where are we? We're October 6th of 2023? 5th. Okay, so we're 2023. So this whole thing, 2019, that's when this happened. We got together early of 2020. And then this was your journey from 2019 until basically the end of 2022. When did you run the first marathon after you had started getting better? What was the date of that marathon?
I think it was this year.
This year it was,
spring
yes.
This year, 2023, yes. It was the first long distance.
Yes, and this is, we need to go for these emotions. I needed this, and I cried after I finished this.
I bet.
This was competitions, and I cried. Now I can start to cry.
Don't stop.
Yes, I remember this day, and I cry maybe in last kilometer when I ran.
You are a man.
You were just so happy.
Look,
you were just so happy that you were able to finish.
You're a man that rewrote his destiny. You are a couple that rewrote their lives.
Okay. And yes, it is very, very important for me was this running.
To go back to the running and to again feel alive and be able to do that.
Well, I assume to know after this journey, to know that you're healed, to have come from such a difficult and dark place, and to be where you are now.
And what I wanted to say in the end of the video, that how I said when we starting this healing process, in starting point, I said to my wife that I understand what will happening. I said to she that this will not the sprint distance, this will be marathon distance which we need to run. You and other people can help me. You can give me water for this distance or something else to support me. But running, yes, I need to run. I need to run this distance by myself. And this is what I want to say to other people, that our bodies is at first is our responsibility, and other persons can help me. Amy can help me. Our family can help us, and other persons can help us, but all what we need to do by ourselves. And in first place, we need we are in first place for us, not this is what, not others, because when we are happy, then others are happy, and this is not working in the other side. They are happy and then I am happy. No, then it started with me, and when I am healthy, then others are happy and healthy, and what I want to say, that my word for my spiritual teacher is what we need in this journey. This will be, of course, a long journey. I don't know, for one person this is year, 2 years, maybe more, maybe this situation's getting worse physically. It can be worse, but you need keep these three things. You need to keep patience, trust, and love always. This patience is most important in my situations. This patient every day. When I came back from body science, I wanted to take out this mesh at first day, but I needed to work with myself mentally, physically, continuous work, and I needed to be patient this year, waiting for this moment when I can take out this mesh. It's not only a question about mesh. All this way, I needed to be patient. Our brain always tell us why we need this. No, we start to meditation. When I start meditations, my brain at starting point said me, "What you do? Why you sitting here? Go on the bed and sleeping. Why you sitting here? What you doing?" And you need to tell your brain, "No, everything will be okay. You need to do these mantras." That's why I told about.
Yeah, you need to trust the process.
Trust the process.
Agree,
yes, I have this story in my Facebook about trust the process. Always trust the process. Always trust in what you do. No matters what other people say. Others maybe say, "No, this is not right way." But if you feel that this is right direction from you, you can need to do this. Okay, you can, maybe this is big mistake in your way, but this is your mistake. This is your choice. You always need to feel what to do, and always need to do what you feel you can. Yes.
Well, I would tell you guys, you imagine in medicine, every disease that's been cured started out as incurable. I mean, that's just what it is. And so you assume before insulin was around, and people died of type 2 diabetes all the time, right? And now, or type 1. And now there's insulin, and it's a disease that people survive and live with. There's some point where diseases move from incurable to curable. And I think this is the beginning of that. There have been so many cases recognized now of reversals. Duke oversees just the counting of them. To see so many people, Maris, for you now to be able to count yourself in that group, it's just a matter of time, right? It's just a matter of time until this disease, just like all the diseases before it, go from unclear, unknown, uncertain, and for that reason, terminal, into the world of, nope, we know it. We know what we're doing. There are solutions, there are answers, and more people wind up on the other side of this like you. And I'm so glad that you did this video. I think it provides a roadmap for people going through it, to hear that you guys went through such a horrible, dark time and then came out largely because, for both of you, sheer will and tenacity. And I think, again, it gives everybody just a direction of what this disease can look like, and to just keep fighting. And to your point, you trust the process, you trust in yourself, you just keep pushing and pushing. And on the medical science side as well, we just keep coming up with new ideas until we just get to the other side of this whole thing. Thank you guys so much for doing this video.
And thank you, Amy. Thank you to you and your staff. It is incredible, because here in body science we found many root causes in my situation. This was the most important puzzle pieces in my healing journey, because gave answers. Without these root causes, it is impossible to go further. And then, of course, about this mesh, I never will knew about something about mesh. If you one day you will came to us and say, oh, Maris, what surgery you had, and what will then my wife start to research information about mesh and how mesh can our body affected our body. Yes, and this is one of the key moment. Yes, of course, this root causes in lab tests and about mesh. Thank you.
Look, for me, I feel super grateful that you guys are here. Again, we're a couple years later, and so the question is, where were you going to be at this point, years from the time that we met in 2020, here, October 2023? I am so glad to see you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.